Chosen one, at this very moment, a profound shift has begun within realms your eyes cannot yet see. The fact that you stopped to listen is not a meaningless coincidence, nor is it a random moment amid the countless sounds of life. I have led you here because certain things can only be given when your heart has become still enough. And when you are ready to believe that heaven is still working through even the most ordinary-looking days. A new season does not always begin with a thunderous announcement. It may begin with a timely reminder, a gentle inner stirring, or a small door opening after a long period in which you believed you had been forgotten. Today, you are standing before a moment that carries the weight of a changing season and of preparation that has been unfolding quietly for a long time. What is drawing near to you is not merely a financial opportunity, a step forward in your career, or a stroke of good fortune that will astonish others. Those things may appear, but they are only the outward expression of a greater arrangement. I am aligning the person you have become with the responsibility you are about to receive. There were years when you watched others advance more quickly and wondered why your own journey seemed to stretch on endlessly. There were times when you prepared yourself and gathered all your courage, only for the door to close directly in front of you. There were also nights when you carried a burden you could not name and did not know how to explain, in a way others would understand. You thought it was delay, but many of those slower seasons were actually protection. Had everything arrived too early, you might have possessed enthusiasm without the foundation required to sustain it. Time was not working against you. It was removing impatience from you and building enduring strength within you. My beloved, heaven does not entrust great influence to a heart that has not learned humility, nor does it place abundant resources into hands that have not learned how to protect what is sacred. That is why you have passed through seasons of testing, periods of silence, and moments when you had to keep moving despite receiving no visible sign. I did not forget you during those days. I was near when you worked without seeing results, when you waited for an answer but received only silence, and when you continued smiling before others while inwardly learning how to remain standing. Those seasons were not a sentence, nor were they rejection. They were the place where faithfulness was strengthened, and where you learned not to exchange your peace merely to gain recognition. Because of this, when abundance arrives, it will not control you, and when praise surrounds you, you will not forget who you are. You whom I have preserved, in the language of heaven, becoming extraordinarily wealthy, does not simply mean possessing a great deal. First and foremost, it means becoming someone who knows how to steward correctly. I am not only preparing you to receive, I am preparing you to build, care for your family, create pathways, and support those who once stood where you have stood. What is about to be entrusted to you is not intended to feed pride, but to expand your capacity to serve. The most beautiful prosperity is not found only in numbers, but in lives being lifted, households carrying less anxiety, and doors you are able to open for others. I want you to be rich in wisdom, gratitude, and the ability to create what is good. The signs of that appointed time have already begun to appear, even though they may seem very small at first. Do not assume that a sign must always be a dazzling light or a dramatic event that immediately captures everyone's attention. Often, the first sign is simply that you no longer feel at peace continuing to live within your former limitations. It may be an inner stirring that causes you to reject habits that diminish you, to stop chasing approval, or to stop pretending that temporary circumstances are all you are permitted to expect from life. You still wake up, fulfill your duties, and care for the responsibilities currently in your hands. Yet deep within you, there is a persistent reminder that your present position is not your final boundary. This room is not where you will remain forever. And the chapter you are living is not the whole story that has been prepared. That inner stirring does not mean you are ungrateful. When guided in the right direction, it is a call to leave stagnation behind. Therefore, be grateful for where you are standing, but do not turn that place into a permanent limitation. Continue learning, keep your word, steward what you already have, and fulfill every responsibility with integrity. True transformation begins before visible results appear. It begins when your thinking, choices, and attitude are renewed. I do not awaken hope within you only to abandon you halfway through the journey. When the appointed time reaches maturity, the things that once seemed disconnected will come together, and you will understand why you had to wait. Be at peace, because the new season will not only change the circumstances around you, it will also reveal the mature, gentle, and steadfast person. I have been quietly preparing. Listen to me. You were not chosen because of luck or favorable circumstances, but because of a sacred intention placed upon your life before you even understood who you were. I did not look upon you because of your background, your resume, or the standards you once used to measure your own worth. I chose you because I know what has been planted within you, the endurance created by your silent seasons, and the faithfulness you continued to carry, even when your heart became weary. When heaven marks a person, that choice is not mistaken. What I have appointed for you cannot be erased by rejection, delay, or the doubtful gaze of anyone. You have prayed for a turning point, longed to see a financial door open, and carried your dreams for so long that you sometimes feared they had become nothing more than memories. But today, I want you to understand that what you have been crying out for is no longer far away. It is drawing closer through every decision, every meeting, and every opportunity that appears insignificant. The prosperity I am preparing is not merely about numbers. It is freedom from the fear of lack, the ability to care for your family, fulfill your mission, and sow goodness without being bound by anxiety about tomorrow. A flow of opportunity, provision, and divinely aligned connections is beginning to awaken around you. Imagine a life in which financial pressure no longer controls your most important decisions. You will no longer ask only how you can survive. You will begin asking me where the next resource should be directed to create greater benefit. I am not leading you into abundance so that you may exalt yourself, but so that you may become a place through which peace can flow, where help can find a pathway and families can be protected. The capacity to create value is already present in your observant mind, in your hands that are willing to learn, in the discernment formed through failure, and in the courage that has risen repeatedly after being misunderstood. I know how doubt has visited you. You looked at your circumstances and saw nothing that resembled the promise. You looked at your present limitations and wondered whether you were dreaming too greatly. There were seasons when the calling within you carried more weight than all the evidence around you. Seasons when you had to move forward before anyone recognized the direction you were taking. Yet I have always gone ahead of you into places you could not see. I have arranged meetings, closed unsuitable pathways, slowed certain things to protect you, and prepared outcomes before you understood why waiting was necessary. Delay is not always rejection. Often, it is the place where your wisdom, character, and ability to steward are being perfected. Those who once laughed at your dreams, the voices that called you unrealistic, and those who believed you were aiming too high, will eventually witness what happens when a chosen person no longer lives according to the judgment of the crowd. You do not need to defeat them through arguments, nor do you need to return and prove that you were right. Allow the results to speak through your peace, integrity, and the good you create. Others may build success through ambition, knowledge, or competitiveness, but you are being invited to move beyond those things. You are not called to rely on talent alone. You are also learning to listen for guidance, recognize the proper timing, and act with wisdom. I do not require you to destroy yourself in order to reach the summit. I am not calling you into a race that costs you your peace, your family, or your kindness. I teach you to work diligently without worshipping busyness. I teach you discipline without requiring you to live in constant tension. I teach you to rest, not so that you will surrender, but so that your mind remains clear and your heart becomes quiet enough to recognize the right door. Resting in me means learning how to cooperate with me. You fulfill your part through honesty, focus, and perseverance, while I carry the portion that human strength cannot control. When you stop forcing the wrong doors, the right door will not require you to break yourself in order to walk through it. The new season is arriving through a different way of operating. Opportunities will find you through ordinary connections, and the right people will recognize your value without requiring you to beg for acknowledgement. Yet remain alert. Favor does not exempt you from learning, planning, or wise stewardship. The very moment you stopped to hear this message, a redirection began within your awareness. I have heard the words you never spoke aloud, and I have seen the burdens you carried silently. You have not been forgotten. Therefore, do not remain outside the doorway of your own future. Prepare what must be prepared, correct what must be corrected, learn what is still missing, and allow the seed to take root in silence. When increase comes, remember both its source and its purpose. I am not lifting you so that you may distance yourself from others, but so that you may bend down and lift others with you, my child. You are entering a time when the light within you will become impossible to deny. Not because of the applause of the world or the recognition of those who once overlooked you, but because of the sacred mark that has grown stronger through every day of your perseverance. A new movement is covering your journey, causing doors that were once firmly closed to begin trembling and cold places to recognize what heaven saw in you long ago. You do not need to argue in order to prove who you are, nor do you need to chase anyone and ask them to acknowledge your worth. What was planted during the silent seasons has reached the time to blossom. It is appearing now, because you are finally steady enough to receive without losing humility, wise enough to use it without turning it into pride, and mature enough to understand that every blessing carries the responsibility of preservation. You once wondered why the journey had taken so long, why I allowed you to pass through silent seasons without immediately explaining them, and why others seemed to move ahead while you remained in waiting. But my beloved, the person standing at the threshold today is no longer the person who began this journey years ago. You have learned to remain calm before things that once terrified you, to preserve integrity in the presence of easy but unsuitable offers, and to leave behind what drained the purity within you. You have also learned to move forward without carrying resentment. Every small choice, every time you returned to what was good, and every moment in which you placed truth above immediate benefit has formed a new person within you, whom you have not yet fully recognized. I have not merely been leading you toward a blessing. I have been preparing you so that the blessing will not cause you to lose your direction. The things that once caused you to collapse are now reminders of how much you have grown. The voices that once confused you, you no longer possess the same power. The old cycles that repeatedly pulled you back into exhaustion are closing because you no longer open the door to them through former habits. You have been rebuilt from the foundation, not through impressive public moments, but through countless days when you chose to rise, even though no one knew how weary you were. I saw you preserve gentleness when life tried to make you cold. I saw you keep your integrity when pain urged you to retaliate. I saw you continue praying, even when everything seemed submerged in silence. No tear you wiped away in secret was meaningless. No bitter response you swallowed for the sake of peace was wasted, and no day in which you patiently continued was in vain. There will therefore be people who are astonished when they see the change within you, because they only witnessed the outward appearance and knew nothing of the years that formed the foundation beneath it. They may assume the opportunity came too quickly, that favor suddenly leaned in your direction, or that you merely happened to be in the right place at the right time. But I know the nights when your strength was nearly gone, and you still refused to release what was good. I know the mornings when you awakened with a heavy heart, and still chose to treat others with kindness. I know the times when you were misunderstood and refused to lower yourself merely to win. I know the moments when you forgave, not because the wound was small, but because you refused to allow bitterness to guide your future. The radiance that is about to appear is not a reward for a performance. It is the result of a hidden life that was preserved through trials. Do not be troubled when some people fail to understand why you are being elevated. You do not need to explain every previous chapter to those who have only seen the final page, nor must you make yourself smaller so that others can feel more comfortable. When you have learned humility, entering a larger place is not arrogance, it is obedience. When you have been taught to serve, receiving influence is not selfish ambition. It is an opportunity to carry light farther. I want you to enter the new season with clean hands, pure speech, and a heart that does not compete. Let peace become your strongest evidence. Let the way you treat those who once ignored you demonstrate that you have been healed. Let your success become a place that supports, comforts, and plants hope within those who are still walking behind you. I know there is still a part of you that fears good things may be taken away because you have witnessed joy come and go before. But this time I do not want you to receive with trembling hands. Open your heart with wisdom. Move carefully, but not fearfully. Be grateful, but do not question your worth. You were not brought here because you were perfect. You were brought here because you allowed correction to mature you. The season of waiting taught you not to waste. The season of lack taught you to appreciate. The season of being overlooked taught you not to build your value upon human approval. When doors open and your name is spoken in rooms you have never entered, do not become so astonished that you step backward. Lift your head, not so that you may stand above anyone, but so that you may stop bowing before limitations that no longer belong to you. I was with you in the days when no one saw you, and I will remain with you when many begin to recognize you. What is coming will help you understand that not one faithful step you took was ever forgotten. Do not confuse the desire growing within you with greed, because the longing to build, expand, and carry greater responsibility is not selfish when it is surrendered to the guidance of Jesus Christ. You once doubted yourself because old voices made you feel guilty for wanting to go farther. But I want you to understand that a desire purified by love, faithfulness, and a spirit of service will not lead you away from the light. On the contrary, it may become the seed of a vision that has been set apart. When you do not seek growth in order to be praised, but so that you may support others and wisely steward what has been entrusted to you, that desire reveals that your inner capacity is being enlarged. Before greater responsibility is placed into your hands, you will often feel an urging that is difficult to explain. It is during this time that you are being taught to think more broadly, love more deeply, wait more patiently, and prepare to carry what once seemed beyond your ability. I know there have been seasons when your outward life appeared unchanged, yet in the hidden place within you, a calling continued to sound. You went to sleep with it, awakened with it, and repeatedly tried to help others understand it, but they could only see your current limitations. So they offered practical advice for a calling they could not feel. Do not become angry with them, and do not allow their lack of understanding to cause you to diminish what is being cultivated within you. Not everyone can see the dawn while the sky is still dark, and not everyone can hear the sound of a new season while its earliest signs remain faint. You only need to remain humble, refuse to boast, avoid forcing others to believe, and continue walking faithfully. Heaven does not enlarge a sacred desire within you and then abandon you before an unprepared emptiness. Provision may not yet have appeared in the form you expected, but that does not mean it has not already been arranged. The evidence that this season of abundance is not an illusion, but is truly taking shape, is that you have already been taught to depend upon the hand of God through smaller measures. Look back calmly, and you will recognize that you have never been alone. There were moments when lack seemed powerful enough to drown you, days when you did not know how you would manage, and nights when your heart was filled with anxiety. Then help arrived without warning. At times, a payment was resolved at precisely the right moment, a door that appeared closed suddenly opened, or a conversation came when you were close to giving up. There were also quiet mornings when an idea arrived gently but was strong enough to redirect your path. At other times, while you prayed through tears, the answer was sent through a person, an opportunity, a sense of peace, or a decision that suddenly became clear. These were carefully arranged lessons teaching you that provision does not depend only upon the systems you can presently see. Therefore, remember this: the quiet times when you were supported were rehearsals for a broader season of stewardship. The Father has shown you that provision is not imprisoned by a salary, a title, or a human door. When one path is no longer suitable, He can open another. When one source appears exhausted, He can lead you to a new stream. When you have no words left to pray, He still understands what you need. The small streams of the past have taught you gratitude, attentiveness, and the ability to use limited resources faithfully. If you despise what is small, you will easily waste what is great. But when you appreciate every form of help, every opportunity, every idea, and every relationship entrusted to you, you learn how to preserve a mighty river before it is placed into your hands. Do not despise the days when you had only enough, because those were the days that trained you to distinguish true need from impatience, to wait for the proper time, and to use what you possessed with gratitude. Do not measure abundance only by what can be counted. Richness is also found in the wisdom to choose correctly, the endurance not to give up, the peace that remains in the face of fear, and the open heart through which blessings can pass to others. I do not want you merely to possess. I want you to know how to protect, cultivate, and cause what has been entrusted to you to bear fruit. Therefore, the season of waiting was not punishment. It was the place where you were trained, your motives were purified, and your vision matured. Continue preparing, learning, and bringing order to what you already possess. Do not feel ashamed of your desire to serve on a greater scale. What you are sensing does not require the recognition of everyone in order to be real. You only need to keep it beneath the guidance of love, walk faithfully, and refuse to allow fear to distort its original purpose. You have not been forgotten. Your capacity is being enlarged so that at the appointed time you will be able to receive more, preserve more, and give more. If I have trained you through rescues that appeared small, it is because I am preparing you for a far greater season of outpouring. Every need that was met at the right time, every door that opened unexpectedly, and every moment when you believed you could not continue but were still sustained was a silent lesson. I wanted you to recognize the hand of the provider before you witnessed abundance. The chosen one does not immediately enter great things while the heart remains unprepared, because people can easily fall in love with the gift more than with the giver. Therefore, I allowed you to learn gratitude while possessing little, to listen while the way was unclear, and to preserve integrity through days of need. When prosperity finally reaches you, you will not bow before what you possess. You will still remember the one who led you there. For this reason, your prayer life has become deeper in ways many people cannot understand. You may not be the loudest person, and you may not use words that capture the attention of a crowd, but within you there is a quiet, enduring, and pure fire. That fire has been sustained through sincere conversations between you and me. You told me about fears you had kept hidden, exhaustion after days when you were required to remain strong, disappointments you did not know how to share with anyone, and even financial pressures that once caused you to feel ashamed. I did not turn my face away from you. I listened to every awkward word, every silence, and every sigh you could not form into a sentence. You do not need to be perfect in order to come near to me. You only need to be honest. What pleases me is not that you have never felt confused, but that even when you did not know what would happen, you still ran toward me. When your prayers were not answered in the way you expected, you remained. When others advanced faster, you still tried to guard your heart against comparison. When you had to consider every expense carefully, you continued seeking guidance before acting. Those small choices reveal that you did not merely want assistance. You wanted to know me more deeply. That closeness is powerful evidence that wealth will not easily transform you into someone else. You have learned to seek peace before outcomes, clarity before opportunities, and me before anything that could make you feel secure. Many people desire increase but refuse to be shaped. They pray for larger doors while resisting the changes required within them. They want to be seen, acknowledged, and elevated. But they do not want to learn humility in hidden places. Yet with you, I built the foundation layer by layer, in places where no one applauded. I allowed you to pass through waiting, so that patience could mature. I allowed you to encounter limitation, so that you could learn stewardship. I permitted certain plans to slow down, so that you would not depend upon haste. These things were not intended to destroy you. They were making you stable enough to carry something great without allowing that greatness to control you. Day by day, I have taught you to love my presence more than visible results, and to trust my goodness, even when you could not yet see my hand moving. You have learned that peace does not only come after a problem disappears. Sometimes, peace arrives in the middle of the problem, when you know you are not alone. You have also begun to recognize that true security is not found in numbers, positions, or the praise of others, but in knowing that you are being guided. When that foundation is properly established, money is no longer a master. It becomes a tool. Opportunity is no longer a trap. It becomes a responsibility. Success is no longer a throne. It becomes a place from which you can serve with wisdom and gratitude. The deep relationship between you and me will protect you as your influence begins to expand. When more people become aware of you, that closeness will remind you that you do not need to exchange purity for acceptance. When opportunities appear, one after another, you will recognize which doors I have opened and which are merely attractive invitations that would steal your peace. When your resources increase, you will not use them to prove your worth, because you already know that your worth is not measured by what you possess. You will help without boasting, build without controlling, give without seeking applause, and enter larger rooms while still preserving a tender heart. My beloved, I am not afraid to entrust much to someone who has learned to bow before me. Humility does not make you weak. It keeps you alert so that success does not cloud your vision. I know you have experienced lack, and I am healing your fear of loss, so that when more is given to you, you will not hold it in panic. I am teaching you when to preserve, when to invest, when to share, and when to say no. I want abundance to arrive in order, so that it does not steal your sleep, divide your family, separate you from those who sincerely love you, or turn you into a stranger to yourself. Therefore, do not underestimate the smaller rescues you have already experienced. They are memorials, proving that I was faithful when you had little, and that I will remain faithful when much appears. Remember the days when you had only enough for today, because that memory will preserve your gratitude when you have enough for many days ahead. Remember the prayers whispered in secret, because it was there that you learned the voice that will guide you amid the noise of opportunities and expectations. I am not preparing you to possess abundance only for yourself. I am shaping you into a wise source of blessing, someone who knows how to lift others without making them dependent, how to open pathways without claiming the glory, and how to use what has been entrusted to create lasting peace. Continue praying with honesty. Continue allowing me to correct you in the small things. And keep your heart tender as new signs begin to appear. The greater outpouring will not be measured only by money or opportunities. It will also be seen in a broader vision, a deeper ability to serve, a more beneficial influence, and healing for the things that once caused you pain. I am preparing a season in which what you receive will be aligned with the person you have become. When that time arrives, you will not need to chase after the blessing. because you will recognize that I have led it to the right door at the right moment and placed it into hands that were trained to preserve it, multiply it, and use it with love.